Welcome to Acharya Shunya's Vedic Satsang. Acharya Shunya is a modern teacher of ancient, timeless, transformative wisdom from the Vedas, Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita. Her teachings change lives, enabling happiness, well-being, and abundance. For seekers of the ultimate truth, these teachings offer realization of the sovereign self. Acharya Shunya is a Vedic wisdom holder of an ancient lineage who received her traditional training under her guru Baba Ayodhya Nath in Ayodhya, India. Baba tasked Acharya Shunya to bring these teachings to the world through her lineage school, Vedika Global. We welcome you to begin your journey of Vedic studentship with these monthly classes. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for ongoing study with Acharya Shunya.
Welcome to my global classroom. I love offering satsang. Why? Because I too sit in the company of Sat, which is the highest truth. It is not an ordinary truth of one kind of people who look a certain way, pray a certain way. It is the ultimate reality from which beings emerge, they live in and go back to. But that reality itself does not change. So truth, if it has to be truth, has to belong to everyone in all realms of time, past, present, and future, and not ever be modified by anything in our life. There is something, there is that truth that we can move towards even while living our day-to-day lives. So in satsang, in a Vedic satsang, we discuss that. And today's satsang is really special because I shall be integrating 3 Vedic sciences: Ayurveda, Yoga, and Advaita or Vedanta. Ayurveda is the science of health and healing from India. Yoga is a methodology to stay connected to a higher truth moment to moment, moment to moment. So it's a cluster of techniques and practices, probably organized under different groupings. But all of yoga constantly keeps our mind connected to a higher reality. And finally, Advaita or Vedanta, which is the highest, most sublime, non-dual teachings from the Vedic tradition. They are contained in the Upanishads. And these teachings remind us that the deepest part of me, which is known as Atma, is boundless. Atma means that which is. So I'm stopping. That which is boundless is Atma. And Vedanta talks about Atma. It reminds us of our truest essence, which is beyond the body, which decays, beyond the mind, which changes, but that which does not change, that which is permanent, and that which is never constrained or restrained like the body and mind, but is always boundless is Atman. But it is non-dual, as in you don't have a different Atma, you don't have a different Atma, you don't have a different Atma, while each one of us gets to have the luxury of a different looking, different color, different sized bodysuit and a tiny bit of a mind saying, I like strawberry ice cream, I like vanilla ice cream. But at the essence, at the core, where it really matters, all of us, including any spiders in this room, or ants that may be crawling about, or living plants that are here around me, all of us, all living sentient creatures share a common Atma. Yoo-hoo! We have a common self. This common self, Atma, is the center of all of us. So when we are all in a meditative state, or even when we are in deep sleep, from wake state, a dreaming state, a deep sleep state, we go into that common home, that common Atma. That is where we live. And then we come out of it, rejuvenated, awake, ready for another day. So the study of this non-dual self, Atma, is contained in Vedanta. And I'm going to bring you all three teachings today because they belong to my lineage. Let us come back in a minute or so and delve right into Ayurveda teachings for this month, May of 2019, when summer has begun. Summer, according to Ayurveda, is a time when we have to be careful of one quality in the macrocosm. That quality is known as rukshata or dryness. Why do we have to be careful about it? Because there is a teaching in Ayurveda that you don't get to be separate from the rest of us. You are a microcosm and you have a direct, complete, and all the time on relationship with the macrocosm. And if in the macrocosm a certain quality is increasing, such as dryness, you might have already started noticing, especially if you are living where I live in California or in any part of the world in that hemisphere where it is summer, then you might have begun to notice that the juiciness and the greenness of spring has slowly, just slowly started turning into more gray or brown or dull. Like things are not like filled of that much sap or juice. It's just begun. And this dryness will go on increasing. And because you are in direct relationship with the macrocosm, what does that mean for you? It means you better start eating your ghee. You better start eating and enjoying sweet, juicy fruits. You better start enjoying some Ayurvedic milkshakes because milk has natural oiliness in it and you can mix into it, for example, a mango or dates or figs or even crushed roses. All of this is going to prevent your microcosm from being taken over by the dryness that is going to slowly take over the macrocosm. Isn't that wonderful? That Ayurveda is giving you an idea of how you can live in this universe in alignment with it. You see, there are rhythms of nature. These are known as biocircadian rhythms. These are happening because of two reasons. One, Earth is orbiting on its own axis. That's why Ayurveda teaches a 24-hour regimen known as Dinacharya. In another way, Earth is also orbiting around the sun, because of which we get 6 seasons known as ritus, and Ayurveda teaches Ritucharya. And these rhythms are so important. Have you noticed how animals and plants in nature follow these rhythms? They don't always eat the same diet just because their culture eats it. They don't always eat the same foods because they have an obsession with that food, or because they got a coupon for that food, or just because they're in their cupboard they have more of that food because they went to a wholesale shop and got some more cheap big large quantities of cereal or cheese or crackers, and so now they're eating it. In nature, animals, they selectively choose things based on time of the day and the seasons. And even plants, if you overwater them in a certain season, they will not like it. They change how much water they want. They change their direction towards the sun. So there is so much connection of living beings with these rhythms. Are you in connection with the rhythm? That is why in the ancient Veda, the chanting would go on. Ridham vadishyami, satyam vadishyami, tanmam avatu, tadavakataram avatu, avatu mam. So that student would say, oh, you teacher, thank you. You have showed me the rhythm, rita. Rita is the root word of the Latin word. The English word rhythm is a Sanskrit word, rita. You know, Sanskrit is the mother language of many, many languages that have emerged. and become, and now they feel disconnected from Sanskrit. But if you go back, Sanskrit is a mother language, just like Latin. Sanskrit is even older to Latin. So the ancient students chanted, I see rhythm, I see Rita, and I understand that this Rita is connected to Satyam, truth. So your human body's truth is flowing through these rhythms. Do you want to follow the rhythm of summer? Would you like to enjoy summer in a new way, in an Ayurvedic way? Then try your best that you do not allow dryness to increase in your body by eating dry foods, dry cereal, dry salads. Make sure there is ghee or oiliness in your food. I'm not talking about super fried foods. I'm just talking about foods that are going to be fragrant, not too spicy and cooling, but at the same time oily. Another quality that is increasing, which you see dryness, but there is heat also. So heat and dryness have to be counteracted. So nothing like resorting to the moon. Moon is nourishing and anti-heat. Therefore, one thing you can all do, I would like all the people who are in this satsang benefit from, is moon-kissed water, moon-kissed milk, moon-kissed fruits. Put your fruits, put the vegetables you will eat, even your drinking water near a window that can catch some moonlight and even starlight. Literally let all of this become blessed with the moon. Moonlight as an ingredient was declared by Ayurveda long, long ago for us to consume in our foods, vegetables, and fruits during summer. And you shall notice that you're not getting so thirsty. You shall notice you're not getting so irritated. You shall notice that the heat's not giving you that kind of headache. Would you like to do that? Please understand, food is very important for your spiritual journey. The body is the temple of your soul. And if you're just gonna get caught up with sunburns and sun headaches and fatigue due to dryness and heat, will you be able to meditate? Will you be even able to show up for my next satsang? That is why in ancient India, Ayurveda was a way of life in every ashram, in every gurukulam, in every wisdom school. Talking about food is not of a lower order, and talking about spirit of a higher order. In fact, there is no Vedic spiritual book, be it the Upanishads, be it the Bhagavad Gita, be it the Yoga Sutras, which have not talked about food. Because unless and until we make our food as per the rhythm of the universal intelligence, and we also participate in it with a conscious manner, we will not be able to bring our best to our sankalpa or our spiritual resolve to evolve emotionally and mentally and psychologically, and to awaken once and forever spiritually, to recognize who we really are, the boundless Atma and not the bound body and mind. Every satsang, I will try that I connect you with these rhythms. I teach you some nugget from Ayurveda because I was so fortunate to receive it from my teacher Baba in my home as I was growing up. He was a great Ayurvedic lover, an ambassador, a healer, a yogi, and a sadhu sage wrapped into one. He would sing songs and chants from the Ayurveda tradition, and I would hum them along. And we always prepared for the season, not just by shopping and buying new clothes, because we were not into a consumerist culture, but a minimalist culture. But how we prepared was by changing what we would grow in our garden, by welcoming the cooling and the soothing foods, by removing some of the typical spices that were warming during winter, like cloves and mustard seeds and garam masala and garlic and ginger, reducing them and bringing into our fold coconut flakes and just cumin and fennel, and of course coriander. And my mother, I remember, had a large vessel of water in which she would throw a couple of tablespoons of coriander seeds, tie a little muslin cloth on top, and put it out there. Here, I turn you over to Mother Moon. May she bless this water. And then the whole family would drink that water. The moon kissed coriander water. The moon kissed fennel water. Oh, you cannot imagine the beauty of all of that. If you can invest in a clay pot made of Mother Earth herself and then expose it, the water to moonlight, then I cannot tell you, you will forget refrigerator. You don't need cold temperature. You need moon, moon, moon. The coolness, the saumyata, the gentleness of the moon. And then you will feel blessed. The sweet taste, naturally occurring sweet taste, is the best taste for you, which is abundantly available in wheat and rice and sugar cane and sweet fruits. Enjoy them. Make porridges, make mung dal, and then of course worship all your food by adding ghee, and learn to make the ghee on a full moon night. Chant to it. Welcome nature and tell Mother Nature, I am coming to you because I am now learning that through your rhythms you are giving me messages. I shall listen. I shall listen. I shall come home to Mother Nature because she is my first mother. I have come from Mother Nature. I must learn to live with her. And then when she comes to reclaim me as death, I go in a healthy way. Disease, drama, all of that is such an option. Decaying and old age can be swabhavika vyadhi, a natural condition. It need not be a dramatic condition. And one way we can prevent that is by being in rhythm with nature. I want to tell you, I am so glad I grew up in a lineage where Ayurveda, Yoga, Vedanta were not separated. We were not studying about the soul while eating stale, terrible, processed food. We were not, only working on the body and becoming vain about it almost, while we had forgotten about purifying the mind and spirit. All of these work together, and that is why I have resolved, because I live by these three vidyas, because I teach them, because I write on them, I am going to keep sharing you nuggets, tiny nuggets, that they will help you. If in today's class, room, global one, virtual one, I can just tell you one thing, that coolness, unctuousness, smaller quantity of food, because your digestion is not that great when it's hot, some rest in the afternoon when it's very hot, even if it's a 5 minute of meditation, not necessarily a nap, would be just what the divine universe ordered for you. Then I'll see you in a few minutes.
Do you want some water?
Welcome back. Yoga. What does this word mean? We all know it. It has become very popular as union with the divine. Yoga means union with the divine. But let's explore it a little more today, shall we? Because sometimes if we know the divine, if we feel comfortable with the divine, then we immediately understand yoga. But if we don't, then how can we move towards the divine? Because that is the ultimate purpose, the divine reality, the divine truth. So yoga, whose root word is yuj, which means union, is really talking about a moment to moment, moment to moment, moment to moment union with something much more beautiful, much more expansive, much more beautiful than where your mind may be caught up in. So really what yoga was, or fashioned to be by the ancient Vedic seers, was a whole cluster of techniques and methodologies, reminders, if I might say so. Then those reminders became pathways and traditions and entire disciplines, so that you are not caught up in a limited, obstructed, cluttered, dark, or distracted state of mind. And you can see through your own mind and pull it back into your original mind, which is known as the sattvic mind, the pure mind, which is its original status. According to all the teachings from the Vedic era coming out of India, your mind is by nature or by default not meant to be cluttered, confused, nor meant to be distracted or agitated. It is not a sinner. It is not stupid. It is not a simpleton either. And that is all the S words. Rather, it is divine, because it is the divine instrument of the divine you, and you are not even any ordinary you. You are that divine which is dwelling through all of us, through our Atma, our essence, which is boundless. So just get comfortable here, will you? Can you take a breath? There is too much beauty, too much divinity, too much unboundedness, too much splendidness, and it's almost hard to understand it. And there you are stuck, feeling irritated with yourself because you took the wrong freeway. Feeling frustrated because you didn't get the lesson that you got today 10 years ago. Feeling miffed that you didn't see the intentions of the person you trusted. It's like, what is she talking about? I'm a divine being. I'm a divine instrument. What is this? And this is it. The gap between your mind is stuck, in the squash, in the jam of samsaric or worldly existence. Your head in there and your feet are above in the sky and you're screaming. That's our existence. Though we, put on makeup and wear nice clothes and say, hello, how are you? Doing pretty good. That's how we talk. I was like, oh, we're not doing good. No, oh God, no. And this is why we have yoga. Yoga then is a moment to moment ending, and a moment to moment new beginning. It's a moment to moment extinguishing of what? It's an extinguishing of this belief that this world is all the only reality. It's a moment to moment allowance of something ceasing. So yoga is ceasing outwardsly, letting go. This is world, this is one order of reality, and then there is a becoming and a being into the internal order of reality. Let me just take a break here to tell you that the great Upanishads, of which yoga is a part, have talked about 3 levels of reality. So this will become clear what I'm talking about, ceasing and beginning. Is that helpful? See, there are three orders of reality. And let me explain this. What if I told each one of you that, oh, by the way, Govind, by the way, Omkara, by the way, this is all a dream. I'm a dream, this is a dream, you're sitting in a dream, nothing's really happening, this is a dream. And what's really happening is that you're lying in your bed dreaming all this. That's where you are, and this is all a dream. And I'll tell you, wake up, wake up. You're lying in a dream, you're lying on your bed, this is all a dream, you won't believe me. You won't believe this dream teacher telling you it's a dream because you are having a pretty livid, amazing satsang in a dream and you're like, no way, this is my reality. So you don't know that you are sleeping because when you are in the dream sorrow, the dream happiness, the dream water, the dream wine, the dream sexual encounter, everything is very real and you would do anything for it. Because the dreamer does not know that I have a waking self, which is right now asleep dreaming. So you see, we are talking about two levels of reality. There is a waking reality rather, and in this waking reality, the ancient Upanishads have termed as Vyavaharika reality. Vyavaharika means it is a transactional plane of your consciousness. You're a divine being, and at one level you have a transactional plane, and this happens during a waking world. Each one of you has this mind which creates a private world. You might have your private projections, imaginations, fear, all sorts of private things. There is sun shining and you might see like there's water out there, like a mirages, illusions. All of this is your private reality, and this is known as pratibhasika reality. So you can already see that between pratibhasika reality or the virtual reality, the transactional reality or the more gross reality does feel a little more substantial. Would you agree? So one level of spiritual work that psychologists, for example, do is get out of your virtual head and come back into the objective reality. Smell the coffee here, sir. This is the reality. This, what you were imagining, that you're going to walk down the aisle and everything will be perfect and your partner will wake you up every day with, some brew of love and sex and romance. Well, all of that was cuckoo pratibhasika reality. Let's wake up. The person hollers at you and says, where's my coffee? That is your Jagat reality, and this is Be Codependent No More, and all those famous books got written. Why? Waking up humanity from the virtual brew into the actuality pudding. But then Vedanta says, or the Upanishads say, well, nice that you are here in the transactional reality, but let's not get caught up here. Even this is not the ultimate reality. You think, just like when you were back there believing that's the ultimate, now that you are back in transactional plane, wake up. You have to awaken from this. You have to awaken even from the waking personality that you have in reality that is known as paramarthika reality. Paramarth, it means the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth of your being is that you are also dreaming this world also. All of this is in your mind. This is just another kind of dream. One dream lasts for 6-7 hours when you're horizontal, and another dream begins when you are vertical. And in the horizontal dream, it's a bit more expansive. It's beyond 3 dimensions, 4, 5, 10 dimensions. Past, present, and future are fluid. So you meet people who may be there, who are from future, from some other lifetimes. Whereas in the waking dream, you are meeting some specific people. You have specific neighbors. So the time and space dimension is more limited. That is all. But just like that dream felt real when you were there, You won't question it. Even if I gave you $1,000,000, you won't question it. You'll say, what the hell? Stop it. Leave me alone. This is my reality. In the same way, as a spiritual teacher, I'll give you $1,000,000 and you'll say, it's nice, but this is my reality. But this is where the Vedas want to tell you, and this is what yoga also helps you awaken moment to moment, is don't get so caught up. Don't get so caught up. There is one more level of reality. It's a beautiful reality. That reality can be accessed the moment you start observing this world, your waking world too, like a witness, as if you're standing apart and just looking at it. Even right now, you're paying a lot of attention to me as a teacher. But as you start withdrawing, ceasing your attention even towards me, which is not a great idea, because one should, if anything, one should pay attention to one's teacher until one awakens. But temporarily, as an experiment, go ahead and start ceasing your attention here. Outwardsly, you're pulling in your ear, you just become a witness of everything I'm saying, and suddenly this outer world starts ceasing, no matter, and the inner world starts becoming, and you go into a state of being. Please write, please raise your hands if you're feeling being within just this suggestion. Any hands here? Please write being, 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 B-E-I-N-G, in case anybody needs help with the English language. I needed it too, because it's not my first language. You wouldn't believe it, when I first came into the country, I'd hesitate speaking in English. But the point is, who cares? It's just a dream, so I make it up. I make up so many words in English whenever I teach also, so don't be surprised. I'll just come up with some random word, because I don't take it so seriously anymore. So the thing is, this is what yoga is trying to do. Union with what? Union with a higher reality. Is this helpful? Is this helpful? So, so that is why a yogi does not believe, if you're in the Vedic path, we don't get so much caught up by, I had this vision or I had this dream, because we say, okay, that's great. If it can inspire you for the ultimate awakening, keep it there, but don't just live by it, because it might be a pratibhasika or a virtual world that we create. Similarly, when we get so caught up in this jagat or this transactional world, we say, you know what? You need dharma. You need some good ethical rules and don'ts, ethical fragrant boundaries, and then leave the world alone. Let it cease. So moment to moment, breathe out, ceasing. Go ahead and do it. Breathe out, ceasing. You are ceasing, letting go. Breathing in, breathe back to who you are becoming. Ceasing again, breathe out. It's a beautiful teachings from my Guru Baba, who was in the Himalayas and became one with his own Paramarthika reality, and then came back to be a grandfather, father of my father, and a family man and a sadhu for so many. Ceasing, becoming. This becoming is not something new. This becoming is becoming back into who you are, your being. Is this helpful? Was this helpful to all of you? Please write helpful, being. Write that. Let me know. Give me your feedback. When you write, you are helping so many people technically asleep while waking. That is what I call sleepwalkers in the waking world. Why we are sleepwalking? Because we are believing everything so much. Yoga then is a cluster of techniques, like I said, which I can talk about more in a few minutes. But really, these techniques, at the end of it, whether it is bhakti yoga, karma yoga, raja yoga, mantra yoga, kundalini yoga, you name it. Whether they are classical yogas as taught in the Upanishads or some new cluster of yogas that have come up with the march of time. But ultimately, the purpose of yoga is union with what is worth holding on to, which is Paramarthika reality, your higher truth, your higher reality. That is what matters. So ceasing outwards and becoming inwards. Only ending outwards, beginning inwards. This Paramarthika reality, we don't have to simply wait for one day to awaken completely. I know these are narratives like that where somebody went up a mountain, awakened completely, came down as a awakened person. But maybe that person had received knowledge or self-knowledge or Atma-jnanam or knowledge of yoga in the past lives is what the Upanishads believe. Everybody needs an instructor, somebody who has connected and gone beyond just these two levels of reality, because only that person can transmit it to you. So let us now take a moment, and I'm going to teach you one more thing. You are going to take your middle finger and you are going to hold your thumb on top. So this is known as Shunya Mudra. Shunya means infinity. Shunya means that which is infinite, which is what? The Paramarthika, or the ultimate reality within you. This is the way. Close your eyes. You should not do it if you're driving. Should not do it if you're cooking. Please don't do it because you can go deep. Please try this. Trust me. I know that I can do this because we share a common self. So the virtual classroom doesn't bind me. I am still with all of you, no matter which country, which era, and when you watch this. Please be in Shunya Mudra. Seize out as you exhale, ceasing to be the personality in the world. You are no longer your name, you are no longer your body, you are no longer who, your religion, your race, your profession. You are ceasing. And then breathe in, you are becoming who you always are, the ultimate Atman, the boundless one, also known as Purusha, the one who lives in the city, in this body, but is not the body, is Purusha. The one who inhabits the body, but is not the body. Again, let us do some seizing in this Shunya Mudra. You are not your name, body, profession, relationships. You are not mother, not father, not son, not spinster, not divorcee, not engaged, not fiancé, not gay, not straight, not bi, not black, not white, not yellow. You are not old, not young, not fat, not thin, not sick, not healthy. Neti, 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 no, no, no. Then remember, without even breath, you can remember becoming boundless. And now just be quiet in the Shunya Mudra. Experience your infinitehood. Don't press on the fingers, it's very relaxed. A mudra is another yogic reminder. Remember, yoga is a reminder of your higher reality, your Shunya self, your infinitehood. Beautiful. If any thought comes, again ceasing, also known as Viyoga, letting it go. I am not that. And then being and becoming. Beautiful. Who I am, the boundless one, the dweller, the resident, temporary resident of this body, but not a part, a product of this body, not restrained by this body, expressing myself through the mind, but not limited by the mind, connected to all minds in the universe, a super mind I am, a super being I am, a divine one I am. Now let all thoughts go, simply be in the Shunya Mudra. The Shunya Mudra. You will experience spaciousness, lightness, a floating experience. Do this only when you are in a stable space. I'm transmitting it to you. Beautiful. Very good. You might experience an out-of-body experience. It's all right. You were never in the body anyway. Beautiful. All right. Let us bring our hands into Namaste Mudra. Let us connect the thumb with our heart. Let's get grounded. You can do this if you want, if you are very much out of the body. Generate some heat and then bless yourself. Beautiful. Beautiful. Welcome back from just a short experience of yoga teaching, not to be found in any book. I want to tell you, so unique. You can Google all you want. You won't find this teaching. This is a teaching from my heart, from my lineage. And then I developed it further. And then because I transmitted it. Did you experience Omkara, the infinity? I saw that you were also outside the body.
Yes.
What about you?
I felt in my heart.
You felt in your heart what? Freedom?
Yes, that freedom.
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 What about you?
Felt a sense of peace.
A sense of peace. I also noticed that you let go so much. Did you drop?
Yeah.
Are you feeling like a clean portrait?
Light.
Light, yeah. And you can say how I saw, right? So I saw because you can't see when you are a waker and you can't see when you're a dreamer. But when you are more in your higher paramarthika consciousness, then the same body and mind sees what is to see. What about you? Oh dear me. Lot of
Yeah, it was the unsettled waking tried to keep coming up, and it just
Yeah.
felt the connection
Yeah.
with everybody in here.
yeah. And then it would come back,
It would come
and then
back.
you would,
Yeah,
so it was
exactly.
noticing this. So what were you doing? Was you doing moment to moment seizing, moment to
Yes.
moment becoming, moment. So this becoming is not a worldly, because you've seized.
Yeah.
You've seized. So is this word helpful, seizing? In Sanskrit, it is known as Viyoga, yoga. Viyoga. So you can't just do yoga, yoga with the divine. So it's like, okay, me, 5'6", with my stiff neck, and then I'm, and then my appointment with, my friend, and then take the dog for a walk, and then I'm going to go for a divine. And where am I going to go? Should I go to the temple, the mosque, or the Gurudwara? So all that is fine, but it all belongs. Our religions, our gods. Everything belongs to the waker. Our trauma, our sorrow, and even our karma only comes to the waker. But the more you connect with the word would be paramarthika. I have not given it an English word, but the more you connect with the boundless one, the paramarthika, the eternal reality within you, the onslaught of karma starts calming down. Your limitations of the personality, body, mind start calming. You're clinging on to your relationships, good or bad, start calming. And that is why what no one can achieve, the yogi by going within achieve. So we say, go within. Go. What is going within? I just find a heartburn and a burp and some irritable memories. How do you go in? So that is where you need context. When I gave you the context of the three types of reality, union with your own inner higher reality. And in this higher reality, you shall find the truth of God. But how preposterous for us to tell you who is God. How preposterous. And that is why the Veda didn't do that. In fact, in the Veda, there is a beautiful hymn which says, who knows what was there when nothing was there? When even the gods were not there. This is a hymn in the Rig Veda. So, everything, this whole world, we need a brief separation, and because we don't know yoga, universe took care of it, and that's why you're a waker and you're dealing with your car payments, your typical karma, of problems happening and, good or bad happening and all that cluster. It's the most painful, the waker. Then you go into your dream, your pratibhasika reality, which you either daydream or you dream in your bed. And it's a world of your own making, your leftover desires, and you meet people who are dead and gone and say sorry or scold them or whatever you need to do, you do. It's a little more respiteful. Plus, even if there is pain, it keeps changing. It doesn't go on and on. So even if it's a nightmare, it might last a few seconds and then it changes to something else. So, it is less painful. But then comes a very short period for a few minutes every night when there is not even any dream. You have not exactly entered the boundless being, the Paramarthika, but when you go into deep sleep, there are none of these realities and it's a rest. You get 3-4 minutes of deep rest from the waker and from the virtual thinker, and whoa, when you get that 4 minutes, you're dead to the world. And when you wake, because there is no world, no outer world and no inner world, that's when you really rest. And if you get that deep sleep, if you don't get deep sleep, you wake up and you say, I don't know, I was just dreaming, it was just this and that. Your mind was busy. It was not paying taxes, but it was paying taxes over many lifetimes. But if you get those few minutes of sleep, somebody says, how was your night? Oh, I was just dead to the world. I loved it. Why? Because that little escape from one reality and another reality. Otherwise, you're constantly on it, on that wheel, like a hamster wheel. But you get those few minutes of deep sleep, and we say that deep sleep is, the best because it is closest. You've gone more, and your consciousness, instead of being outwards, has turned inwards and taken a little break, and it's closest to the boundless being, to your reality, to Purusha, to Atma. And that's where it gets nourished. But then as you start practicing yoga, especially the way I plan to keep teaching you, and I hope you attend some of my classes on yoga, etc., which are coming up, what will happen is, even while awake, you will be inwards, touching the nectar of Purusha, of Atma. Then you see, people say, oh, so if I self-realize, will my mother-in-law start behaving herself? If I self-realize, will Trump, just say, yeah, I agree, I need to Trump, I should step down. I really don't deserve to, to sit with my consciousness here, in this presidential seat of a great country with great ideals. No, the whole world will stay where it needs to stay. But when you are realizing, when you are in a dream, has that happened to you? You're in a dream, people are chasing you, and you are in so much misery, and then you start realizing, oh my God, it's a dream. Then you're more concerned about waking up rather than running. Has that happened to you? So only real peace is that you realize it's a dream. In the same way, you will stop sweating the waking world so much. The yogi doesn't sweat it. We were having technical difficulties today. I'm not sweating it. Oh well. If it's moving smoothly, oh great. Because it is not my ultimate reality. And this really helps. You're a cool dude. If you really want to become a cool dude, you have to understand yoga the way I want to teach you. So always remember ceasing, beginning, becoming, being. I had taught you in another satsang, be, breathe, be, become. Today I have taught you ceasing, becoming, being. These gems, once taught only by an Acharya to a very select student, this Acharya has decided to open to the whole world, because I have realized there's too much emotional suffering and too much sweating of the waking world. Take it easy. This one is also a dream, just with different dimensions. This is a very intelligent universe. You gotta out-intelligence it. And that is what Vedanta is providing you. See it like a witness, like an observer. Do your best and let it go. Advaita Vedanta, non-dual Vedanta. Vedanta is the teaching from the Veda, which is its crown jewel. Upanishads are the end section of the Vedas, and Upanishads give us the teachings of Vedanta. Vedanta tells us to inquire into the deeper question: who am I? Where was I before I was in this body? Where will I go after I let go of this body? Why do I desire so much? Why do my desires never fulfill me? What can lead me to a fulfilled stage? Where should I look for that fulfillment? And if I find fulfillment in the world, will I know who I am? So all these very, very deep teachings have been profoundly offered in the Upanishads. These are known as Upanishadic teachings, Vedic teachings, because Veda is the big umbrella. They are also known as Advaitic teachings or Advaita teachings, non-dual teachings from India. These are also known as Vedanta teachings, whatever you call it. But this teaching is what we all need, believe it or not. Because you can work on your body, and Ayurveda is a big part of my life. I don't know if you know this. But I have grown up in a family where of teachers of Vedanta, of Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the source books, which is one of the Upanishads. Mainly, but they were also yogis teaching yoga philosophy and living as per Ayurveda and helping who they could in a simple way through home remedies and teachings on food and lifestyle. Not doctors, but really health evokers, teachers of, conveyors of a healthy way of living, a health consciousness rather, way before, this word health consciousness became popular. That is why as an Ayurveda teacher myself, I don't focus on disease as much as on awakening health. But then awakening cannot happen at the body level alone. You see, body is inanimate, it's insentient. And, the mind also does not behave. It keeps changing, the mind keeps changing the mind. So you can make a sankalpa or a decision that I will eat in a certain way or I'll go for exercising, but nothing listens. So ultimately you need knowledge of who you are and why are you stuck in this body and mind that constantly need caretaking. I mean, what made you choose this paradigm? And what can you do to unchoose it or to change it from deep inside? And the only thing constant in all of this, the changing body and the changing mind, is you and your awareness. You are that awareness. So knowing this awareness and working in this awareness in the inside out, not outside in. So when you instrument changes in the awareness, body and mind show a cascading change. But if you are bereft of your awareness and you've outsourced your body to your Vedya or your healer and you've outsourced your mind to your therapist, you're working away at it, you're really working at the periphery. Whereas in the core is you, and that you is pure consciousness, pure awareness, and this consciousness is magical. Yad bhavam tad bhavati, it becomes what you think. It becomes what you deeply believe, not occasionally think. But if you go on really believing that I'm an unlimited, boundless being, that is how your body and mind start behaving. And you know this. You have yourself thought your way to negativity. You have thought your way to panic attacks. You've thought your way to anger and explosions. And if you go back to whatever happened in your life, ultimately there was this one thought. This one thought. And the only master of that thought is the soul, is you. This is not soul that will be punished, that is sinful, that belongs to each one person. The concept of soul, we have to take it out of the Western Abrahamic tradition and bring it into the Vedic tradition where your Atma is one with the divine absolute reality known as Brahman. So your Atma is an amazing, boundless one, and it is one with the absolute reality which underlies everything. It is one, it's not two, just two names, the way of seeing it. When we see that absolute reality in you, it is called Atman, which means the boundless one. And when we see it as a collective, it is called Brahman, which means the infinite one. That's all. Two words, the same truth, which is boundless, limitless. So how about we know this awareness, this magical one that is known to be Satchitananda. Sat means truth, from Sat. It is the ultimate truth. Body is not the truth. Mind is not the truth. The truth is in you. It is Chit, it is Chaitanyam. That means really nothing is really intelligent. You are that awareness. You reflect, or you let the mind borrow your intelligence and then spook you. And then tell you you're not good enough. Your own mind. It's like you got an intern to work for you, and then intern turns around and says, let me tell you a thing or two. Hello. That's how your mind behaves with you. It doesn't cooperate with you. It doesn't keep up it doesn't let your willpower flow, and it doesn't let your sovereign potential shine. Each one of us has come here to shine. And if we are not shining, we are victims of our own mind. But you are Satchitananda Chitta. That awareness, that intelligence belongs to you. This was really good for me to know. I like to know that my mind really doesn't have real power. That really helped me because I, as many of you know, had a very creative mind that could give me a lot of sorrow. I had a life situation where some people were giving me sorrow, and I had my mind which needed nobody else. Thank you. We're self-equipped. We can give ourselves sorrow. And it keeps us in a victim mode or in an aggressor mode, and we fluctuate, and we're either crazy and ranting, raving, or we are depressed in a, and inward and not really living our potential. But you know that you are the truth, you are the intelligence, and finally Ananda. Bliss lives inside you. This was also very, opening for me, and it might be for you. I contemplated upon it. I am Ananda. Bliss lives in me. It doesn't live in the cheesecake. It doesn't live in this person. It doesn't live in, things working perfectly so I'll get happy. It really helped me stop chasing happiness. I'm not teaching you this satsang hoping that when the satsang works perfectly, when it has 1 million views, then I'll be happy. I am teaching from my happiness. Can you feel it? I'm happy now because my happiness is up to me. Imagine you going on a date and you wear your perfect black dress, with a plunging neckline to make someone else more happy. And then you really hope that that person will choose you, whoever you're meeting. And then when they choose you, you'll become happy. But oftentimes when we go with our plunging necklines and our plunging self-esteems and our plunging self-worth, people don't want to choose you. They can use you, they can abuse you, they can mock you, they can humor you, or they can join you with their similarly plunged low self-worth. Imagine walking in with a plunging neckline because it makes you happy. Imagine walking in because you are full of your own happiness. I don't know, but you'll have a problem, little one, because too many people will want to be with you. And you get to choose. And because you're happy, you raise other people's, you become a role model for them to choose themselves. You see, Vedanta is not just some highbrow teaching of Satchitananda. What does it mean for you in your living room? What does it mean for you when Satchitananda Shunya walks into a restaurant? Then this Satchitananda is more powerful than the pizza slice, the extra one that's lying in the middle between my son, my husband, and I. And now, some of you, it might be time for you to stop being my student because I accepted that Satchitananda eats pizza. Oh dear me, that's not holy at all. But remember, I'm into wholeness, not holiness. So if wholeness means a nice organic pizza with some goat cheese and green leaves, go for it. Okay, so when you know you are Satchitananda, when you know you're a higher being, the ultimate truth, the ultimate intelligence, and the ultimate bliss is with you, and you live with that, it helps you slowly rechange the equation where you are in the world, but you've given away all your power to the world because you are searching happiness in the world. That is what makes us beggars. But beggars are always remain beggars. If you see anyone, you take any success story of any person in this world, whether they are a movie star, a computer maverick, a writer, a politician, a leader of, change, they have always been a little disengaged from whatever script is going on in the world. And they have come up with their own clarity. Yes, has that happened? Because they are not imprisoned. They might not know Vedanta, but they for sure can talk back to their own mind. They can for sure, not necessarily be bound by some pleasure in the world, because they know that they can, what they are doing is flowing their happiness. When Nelson Mandela was for 22 years in a jail, he was his own truth keeper. He was his own bliss keeper. He was his own, freedom keeper. He was his own manager of his mind. He didn't have some therapist holding him through that imprisonment. His convictions, his beliefs confirmed that he was an autonomous being even inside a prison. And that is why he could bring sovereignty to masses. Do you see my point? We are not even in jails, but we are in jails of ignorance, which is known as avidya. It's a metaphysical ignorance. There is a word, there are two words that you, if you're planning to continue to study with me here and enjoy the rasa, the flavors of Vedanta, Ayurveda and yoga, should then remember. And this word is Maya in a collective sense, and avidya in your personal sense. In your personal sense, it's a metaphysical spell. Baba used to say, Shunya, a spell has enchanted everyone. Everybody has forgotten that they are truth, they are bliss, they are pure intelligence. They have given away everything to their mind, to the body, and other people's minds and bodies. And so we are like estranged from our truth. So I welcome you in this satsang to contemplate, who are you? Who are you? This contemplation is needed, because even otherwise, even if you're meditating, what's the point of meditating? You were just meditating away, What's the point of chanting? What's the point of standing on one leg and proving something? You have to ultimately know who I am. And what is my relationship with this world? What is my relationship with God? Is God and I forever estranged? Are we close? Or is it a possibility that I am a God that has forgotten I'm a God? This spell is so powerful. So that's why Vedanta says none of it is personal. If you have forgotten your power, forgotten your truth, you are spooked by your own body and mind, you are scared of everything, then there is nothing like Vedanta to strengthen you. That is why, I go to the sun every morning, and in Vedanta, if you can see, the earth, it's experiencing night and day, right? There is a setting sun and a rising sun. But Veda doesn't believe in these kind of things, setting sun, rising sun. Veda says this is not the truth. Because sun never sets. So sun is considered as a representative of your self, your true soul. It's always there. You may not see it from one part of the hemisphere, from one certain clouds are there, you can't see it, or it's nighttime at a certain place, but the sun is still there. So you can go to the sun and talk to it every day. This is what I want to teach you a practice. So I often chant this mantra from Isha Upanishad. It says, I think it's 15th verse, 15th mantra. And it says, Hiranye mayen patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam pushanna pavranu satya dharmaye dishtaye. Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. What does it mean? Even if you can't chant the mantra yet, you can always speak to the sun like this. You can look at that beautiful sun. Ideally, it should be the rising sun if you can. Or whenever you look at that shining sun, you can say, you can talk to the ultimate reality, which is also within you, and you can say, you who is offering me so much poshan, so much nutrition, you are nourishing me. Do you know? There could be no life. So just like there can be no body, no mind, there can be no life without this consciousness, without this soul. You have offered, you are nurturing me, you are nurturing this whole universe, this entire Brahman, this whole universe. Since you are offering so much nurturance, I am sure you are also taking care of my few desires. Thank you. Thank you. Because who are you going to ask but your own self? Because you can't see it, see the sun. You're talking to yourself. See, this self has created this miracle. Thank you. I'm sure you're nurturing me with my few ethical, dharmic desires. My manoratha. You are looking after them. By the way, this beautiful shining aura, this is your aura. This is the light. But your real face, which is Satchitananda, which is nameless, formless, but it is the truth. It is the pure consciousness. It is pure bliss. Your beautiful divine face of Satchitananda is behind this shining orb. So this shining orb has become it's a manifest thing. But I want to see the non-manifest truth. So please, whatever is coming in the way, even if it is super shiny and beautiful, take it away. Let me see the truth of my own soul. Let me see the truth of my own soul. Please kindly remove it. In the meantime, I shall continue worshipping you, my soul, through two things: Satyam, truth, and Dharma, righteousness. Om Hiranyamayen Patrena Satyasyapi Hitam Mukham Tattvam Pushanna Pavrano Satyadharmaye Drishtaye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let me have a conversation with my own boundless soul. For that, I can either close my eyes and connect to the sun within, or I shall go outside and connect to the sun without. It is all one. I shall tell the sun, this Lord, as I speak to my inner Lord of my mind and body, oh, great, brilliant one, you who nurture this whole universe, I know you are nurturing me. Thank you for looking after my tiny desires and ambitions. Thank you for blessing me. I am continuing to worship you through the two-pronged Vedic teachings of Satyam, truth, and Dharma, righteousness. At least consciously I shall not be naughty and flout Satyam and Dharma. I will do my best. In the meantime, here is a request. I don't want to just see you through my mind's eye or through my physical eye. I want to see you. I want my truth. I want Atma Bodha. I want darshan of my own truth. I want darshan of the ultimate reality. I want the truth open in front of me. Like my own hand, I want to see the divine truth. No more stories, no more books, no more teachings. I just want an encounter with my own raw divinity. Please, O Lord, this shiny orb that blesses me, even if it is the shiny orb, it is your divine orb. Even this divine orb you removed, as if the sun is like a cascade, like a curtain. Remove this and show me you. You are behind this brilliant sun. It looks like a physical sun, but the truth is behind that, the ultimate reality. Satchitananda. Brahman is there. I want to see Brahman. What a childlike, beautiful verse in the Isha Upanishad. Who shall we claim? Our birthright for divinity. We ask divinity itself to fulfill our desires, tiny ones as a waker in the awake world, and then in the ultimate reality, we ask, we demand, we insist. We are like a toddler asking for a darshan. This leads to self-realization, which is God realization, which is the realization of the ultimate truth in the Veda. I bless you. Vedanta is not an easy topic. Even if I teach you 12 hours a day for the remaining years of my life, if all you could remember is you are not just this body and mind, you are more. And you are help, and you are loved, and you are blessed. If you get too caught up in the world, too set in your mind and body, and only think you are this physical character with a physical address, with a physical car, with a physical disease, and with a physical limitation, that is all you will be. The Vedic journey is about, while using this physical body, to find your spiritual truth. This is the ultimate journey, the journey of knowledge. Vedanta requires submitting our ignorance and gaining enlightenment. Enlightenment does not require you to be dead or to be sitting in lotus pose for the rest of your life or meditating. Enlightenment while being a homemaker, enlightenment while being a school teacher, enlightenment while being a bus driver, enlightened while being, a ballerina. An enlightened one in the light within has come on, and you know that you are not alone. This ends all sorrow. I keep talking to the world. I live alone a lot, and I consciously choose it. I have withdrawn a lot from the world. I write, I caretake of my animals and plants, and I sit quietly a lot. And I'm always having conversations. I'm always teaching. I'm always sharing. Because I feel that the only way, the best way I can help people with sorrow is to share with them this knowledge. Become your own light. Every day now, when you see the rising sun, remember, it is the brilliant, lit, divine light of your own soul. It's your covered. There's my soul. There's my soul. There's my soul. Talk to it. Find it here. Thank you. We come back in a few minutes for your questions and my answers. The teacher-student discussion in Sanskrit is known as Samavada. The Vada means a discussion, which is Sama, which brings into balance our whole life. So please take these next 1 or 2 minutes as we set up to write your questions. Don't think that I expect PhD level questions from you. You can type me the question that you think I might think is silly. This whole world is silly. You're amazing. Go for it. Welcome back. We are now going to take some questions.
Yes. Thank you, Acharya Shunya, for these wonderful teachings. You have given us such a wide range of teachings today, this morning. And I just wanted to remind everybody and let our viewers know that the tiny nuggets of Ayurveda that you gave us, there will be more, there are more, and that people can find them in the latest blog, in depth, Ayurveda do's and don'ts, as well as recipes that are not well known. And these are posted on your Facebook, correct? As well as acharyashunya.com in your blog.
I believe so.
Okay, very good. So some of the questions that we have, one is a clarifying question. Is ceasing the same as pratyahara, or withdrawal of the senses?
Pratyahara helps with ceasing. But ceasing, or which means letting go or ending, is a cognitive decision. Closing. You can actually take a thought, because senses, yes, like right now I'm talking to you and you can withdraw your sense or you can come towards me in hearing it. But ceasing is, because this is why in yoga context, this is a deeper yoga. So pratyahara, yes, but pratyahara based ceasing, where you take a mental decision that I don't want to any longer remain so engaged in my waking world, waking reality. I'm going to take a trip inwards towards my ultimate reality. We talked about 3 realities as a reminder. The reality that you experience while you are waker, which is a somewhat fixed reality. Then there is a reality which you imagine in your mind or you dream, which has multiple dimensions, past, present, future come together, pratibhasika reality. And then there's a third reality, which is the ultimate reality of you as a Purusha or Atma, the boundless one, which is known as paramarthika reality. So this word ceasing is a yogic reminder to your mind that you are ceasing being what? The name, the body, the profession, the race, the child, the father, the daughter. So it's literally that word ceasing will become so loaded for you that it's a cognitive ending more than just even a sensorial pull, though I think it happens. You sensorially pull in, and that is what you are doing. So I hope that helps. Yeah.
Thank you, Acharya Shunya. So following from that, the next question is getting some clarification around dualism. So in Western philosophy and Western thought, there is a dualism between the body and the mind. And I've heard you today speak a bit about those two pieces. What is dualism, or where is dualism in the Vedantic teachings and conceptualizations?
That's a very good question. And in fact, the Indian variety of dualism, which goes across Vedanta, Yoga, Ayurveda, wherever we see dualism, it's very different from the Western conception of dualism. So we have to let go of the teachings of Plato, Aristotle, Paul, Augustine. We have to let them go or separate them out, because they have also separated the body from the soul. That's nice. So, and the mind and the soul kind of correspond together, and body is separate. But in Vedic understanding, in Vedantic understanding, really the dualism is between awareness and objects of awareness. And you are pure awareness, which is pure consciousness. Self or soul is pure awareness. And objects of awareness could be gross, as in the body or anything physical, or subtle, as in beliefs and ideas, etc. So we put body and mind as matter. We separate them out. One is gross matter, one is subtle matter, and they are all objects in awareness. So we separate out awareness is the only truth. It's the ultimate reality. This is Purusha, this is Atma, and whether thoughts, beliefs, ideas, visions, dreams, chocolate box, pot, coffee table, all of them are objects. Human being, people, child, monkey, dog, cat, everything are objects. Whole world is objects. You are pure awareness. So this is our duality. And so what this does is it takes the conversation to another level, because that's how you can really separate the mind, and not give it that much credence. And in some sense, I have to say it, and I have a student sitting here who's a neurobiologist, and you will agree with me that in some sense, the Vedantic understanding of duality matches the new, more materialistic considerations that neurobiology is coming up, which has reduced thoughts and beliefs to mere neural network and the brain. It has reduced this great mind lofty functions to molecular level changes at the brain, at nerve synapses. So it's all matter. Some is, very sensitive and nerve matter, some is physical matter, but the awareness that's enabling everything is different. Would you agree? To an extent. So this is really fascinating. And so this duality between what you can do right now as an answer is that whoever has asked this, if this question feels pertinent to you, is think of yourself as pure awareness. And think of those important relationships that may be bothering you as objects in your awareness. Think of the foods that are, seducing you as objects in your awareness. Naturally, awareness is a higher order of reality. And awareness can then determine what importance it wants to give to the object. In fact, so much so that modern experiments looked at the prima facie, power of the awareness, that it is the awareness which decides whether something is a particle or a wave. When based on the so according to the Vedanta, there is the only reality is the subject. That's it. That is why all our work is done within, and the awareness, and purifying that awareness. When this awareness is, can be three kinds. When one, it can be, you can be not knowing about this pure awareness. You can only believe in the borrowed awareness in the mind, which also makes the body living, and only think that becomes the shadow self. It's a shadow awareness, and we believe that's our only reality. So one level of difference we do is between shadow awareness and actual awareness. Do you understand? That's one thing. Then we also look at pure awareness. This pure awareness is then connected to the collective awareness, as if this awareness also is not different in you, different in me, different in you. There is one awareness seeing through every mind. It's mind-blowing. There is only one witness of every mind. There is one Sakshi, Ekam. You think, I have my inner witness, you think you have your inner observer, I think I have my inner observer. There's only one observer, and that is God. So I hope it's not too complicated, but we'll continue discussing these things.
So one of the students had asked a question that I think is really related to what you're just talking about is, why are so many of us so veiled from this oneness?
Veiled?
Veiled. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are veiled from the oneness. We believe in duality, multiplicity. We are all inherently one ocean, but every wave has an ego, and it thinks, look at me rise. And then we also believe that once we rise, we'll never fall. Then when we fall, we lament and complain. Then we look at the other rising ones and feel we're doomed. Then we rise again and go, yay, yippee me. But we're all behaving like, silly little waves who've forgotten they're really ocean. This happens according to Vedanta or Upanishads. It's a study of this niacence. Is that the word? Niacence? Or like a metaphysical ignorance. It's called the ignorance of the self, because of which we become like that. But you know, when you were born, whoever asked that question, when you were really tiny, you didn't know the difference between us and them. You didn't even know if you look like the dog or your mom till you really understood to see yourself in the mirror. You believed the moon was really nearby and you raised your hand to catch it, you know. So even as a kid, we, as a young child, until we start, the mind starts believing the mind of other sleepwalkers. But when the mind is a little less tainted, it's not come into its own. The shadow has not really grown. The shadow intelligence of the mind, the shadow self, has not taken on its false beliefs. So it still believes according to the original awareness where everything is one. And then we are told, don't talk to them, and don't talk to people who look like them, and definitely don't talk to those others who mate like them. And we create our little silos, and then we believe that's our only reality. But we have all noticed is that again, as we age, or we have a difficult time in our life, when we get a spiritual awakening, we all start feeling soft. And when our heart is soft and melting, it again starts feeling union and oneness. Why? Because oneness is our only truth. So that is why it's like a case of forgetting. It's a case of concealment. And that is what I, as a teacher, does. I help you, remind you of your original self. It doesn't, again, it's a practical teaching. It doesn't mean that somebody is slapping you away and you say, I am one, I am one. It's a bit, we all can't be that. We can still say to the person, because that person, shadow self, their mind and body, their ego, which has become a center for all its false beliefs of separation is slapping you. So you can say, no, I will not let you slap me. That's not okay. And you'll have a boundary with that person. But when you sit down to meditate, you will know that person is not evil. They forgot their way. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. When I've had people who've not acted in a manner that I expected them to, it sorrows my heart more for them. Like, oh, they forgot their way. The ego came up like a red swollen, pimple, and it's saying me and I, and it's, wanting to behave a certain way. I'm like, oh. And then when I pray, I think of them and I send them love. There's a very big difference. I might still say to the person, if say, you can't slap me, you can't say this to me, you can't behave this way. It's different, but it's a boundary more for, I'm not going to let somebody's ignorance, ignorant ego vomit all over me. But I'm not going to get bitter and nasty as a result. I don't lose my inner happiness, equanimity, and peace. It really helps to know about Maya, and it really, Veda doesn't call anybody a sinner or doesn't say they're good or bad. It just says they are ignorant and awakened. And it asks all of us to awaken from what? From the spell of Maya that made us forget two things. One, we are supreme, blissful, amazing beings. We are spirit, not body and mind. And two, we all share a common self.
Thank you, Acharya Shunya. I mean, this was just such a rich teachings and contemplations, and we only have a few more minutes for questions, and I wanted to invite the viewers to go deeper into the conversation and have more contemplations via your new Facebook page, Acharya Shunya's Vedic Contemplations, where I understand that every Wednesday you'll be posting a video or a written blog, and people can engage in a further dialogue with you.
Yes, I received so many requests for an ongoing teaching, not just once a month. So I have started, I believe it's called Vedic Contemplations by Acharya Shunya. You can look for it, and I do post, I'm trying to post every week on it, either a vlog or something written to take these conversations deeper. Thank you for reminding everyone about it. Yeah.
most definitely. So perhaps will be the last question, which may be deceptively simple, which is, what does the word Vedanta mean?
The word itself.
The word itself, because you've been talking about Vedanta says this, and even me as a long-term student, I think I've taken it for granted to understand the definition of the word Vedanta.
It will come as a surprise to you. So Veda means knowledge, and Anta means end. So it means the end of knowledge. What does that mean? It doesn't mean it is the end of knowledge as in, look at this, this is the ultimate knowledge. What it really just says is, now here, any cognitive knowledge ends. The sheer beingness, the experience only remains. Where you are just simply you. There are no words, there are no teachings. It is taking you beyond conceptions and analysis into an experience, an internalized knowingness, a wordless knowingness of this bigness, of this expansiveness. Did you feel it when I had earlier led you through the Shunya Mudra in another session? Right? You can't explain that. It's an experience. What if that was your ongoing experience? And you went to work, and you designed an app, and you made babies and raised them. That is what life becomes as a jivana mukta, a free one, free from the limitations of life. Therefore, Vedanta came at the end of the Vedas. In the Vedas, in the beginning, they teach, divine hymns so that we don't feel like spiritual orphans. Then there is teachings on karma, yoga, and dharma so that we start living more like spiritual beings and just, brutes fighting with each other for rights and privileges. And all that purifies our ego. Then comes Vedanta, which starts saying, oh, now that you've settled down, calmed down, your ego is not caught up in, turf battles. Now let me teach you something that will take you into the experiential realm of bliss, consciousness, boundlessness. That is what will happen. I believe we have 2 more questions. Let us see what I can answer.
First question. How do we reconcile the logical beliefs of Vedanta, such as explanations of consciousness, with the faith-based belief of samsara?
I see. Who is asking this question?
Derek W.
Okay. So, samsara, what does this word mean? Samsara means that which is cyclically flowing. And there are 2 circles that we are caught in. One circle is the circle of life and death, birth and death. It just goes on and on in a circular fashion until we awaken from it completely and realize who we are, the birthless, deathless one. That's one circle. That is known as samsara. Another samsara is the name given to the world, cyclical, repetitive belief systems that go on and trigger each other, which is going on in our mind. For example, we smile at somebody's hello, and they don't smile back. That person doesn't like me. That can be one thought. Then they like the other neighbor. That can be another thought. They don't like me specifically. Well, nobody likes me. Well, think about it, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So it's like a circle. Yeah. Then next time you don't smile, and then it's like, it's just going on and on. So it starts creating a world. So this means samsara. And what the student is referring to is the faith-based gods, right? Faith-based gods. So samsara-based gods. No. Gods and samsara don't go together. Samsara, in fact, any faith-based God is a creation our attempt within the waking time that we are awake to create some version of a higher self, some higher power, some higher appeal that can be Buddha, Rama, Jesus, But they are representative ultimately of an ultimate power. That power exists. So even the primitive man or the primitive woman knew that there is something beyond me. From ancient days, we have had religion, we've had gods. And it is one thing that Vedanta goes even beyond God doesn't go beyond God. Vedanta is all about God, except that what it does, it expands the definition of God. So it gives two definitions of Brahman. Okay, listen carefully. One is known as Nirguna Brahman, which means the formless, nameless, pure consciousness which becomes everything and yet remains unchanged. So it's like the divine raw material. The second one is Saguna Brahman, means we human beings with our understanding put characteristics, gunas, put qualities to Brahman and say, well, because I'm Indian, I might think, when God comes, he will come with a flute and he will be wearing a peacock feather in his head and, he will look like Govinda or Krishna to me. Some Christian person might think when God comes, he will have a beard and he will be, standing in white clothes with soft melting eyes. Some Sikh person will think, oh, they are thinking of some ultimate reality, but that will come as Guru Nanak for me, with his hand like that and his eyes so large, full of tears for grief for me and for my suffering. So you see, we have permission to think of gods, because without God, how will we make it through our waking world? And so Veda gives a beautiful invitation. Veda says, hold on to the God of your faith tight. And not just like becoming tight as in becoming crazy about it, but learning the values, learning the good teaching so that you purify your mind. First, instead of depending on world, instead of depending on people and world to fulfill you, go to God. And then from God, find self. And afterwards, when you're in self, you shall find everything there. God also, people there, goods there, objects there, because self is higher conscious, pure consciousness. Do you see? So therefore, there is no contradiction. Vedanta is not teaching you to not have God, because the God word, or we can say the ultimate reality, is what we are all talking about. For some of us, in our own conception, we can worship that ultimate reality in the form that is familiar to us. So if you look at my day also, the moment I get up, I'm aware of two words, Satyam and Dharma. These are my two guide poles. I've not always been like, oh, I was not born with perfection. I had to raise myself. Am I being dharmic? Am I with truth? Oh, I was not dharmic. I have to be more dharmic. Oh, I let go of the truth. Not just the truth of what I'm speaking, but the truth of I am spirit. That truth. So I hold on to these two, right? So these are the two words that come out of me. Satyam Dharma. Satyam Dharma. Satyam Dharma. They are the two words that come out of me. So it is my soul's, my small self's conviction that I want to be with my higher self, right? Then afterwards I go to the sun and I chant mantras. Then, so I see God as the sun, as the self and the sun. Then after bathing, I come to my altar, and there I have some Hindu gods, Krishna, Vishnu, Narayana, Durga, Saraswati, Kali. For a while there I had the snake god there also. Because Hindus don't worship many gods, it's a wrong thinking. Hindus worship one Brahman, manifested in anything, because he's infinite. So they are the infinite expression. So we have freedom. We can put a little pebble and say this is God. We can put a leaf and say this is God. So I do that also. But then when I go into meditation, I meet my inner God. God, God, God. God everywhere. God up there. God in you. God in you. God in me. God in everywhere. Then my little dog, he had his birthday yesterday. So I sat and I held him and I said, Oh God, you came as my little poodle. Oh God, you are delighting me, you are seducing me, you are affectionately loving me in this avatar. And then I told my husband, I said, look, God took avatar 5 years ago. So for us, God is everywhere. Enjoy the God of your faith. Enjoy the God of every faith. Enjoy His buffet. When you walk, every flower is God. And then you might spread a special altar. That takes special energy. And, having God is very helpful. God.
There are a few more questions, Acharya Shunya, and with your permission, can we invite people to put those questions in your Facebook page, the Vedic Contemplations by Acharya Shunya? Is that the proper place for the questions?
Absolutely, yeah. Because what that will do is that will inform me about what kind of questions are coming in your mind. That will help me give greater structure to my teachings. One, because that also helps me understand where I'm leading you, and then I can, and I won't always wait to answer you at the end of the month. If it's a very significant question that everybody should know, I might answer it twice, once in the Vedic Contemplations group and once on the Satsang when we come back here. So so I'm opening up myself more to be able to answer questions. And we just made a video. In fact, Janya here took her phone out, and I answered one question for the Vedic Contemplations group on a phone video, and that's going to be posted soon. So it's going to be a fun way to interact. I'll share this with you. I'm from the old school where you sit with spine erect in front of your teacher in lotus feet, and you don't even wink, and you learn, and and it's a deep teaching, and I'm not mocking it. It's the great way. It took me a while to embrace technology, believe me, but now that I've embraced it fully. So join me. I'm having a lot of fun. I come to teach from my own fullness, happiness, and blessing to have a guru, and to be rescued from my own shadow. I'm not trying to achieve anything in life. Moment to moment, I'm seizing. CEASING, seizing, ending what I was a moment ago, and I'm becoming something new. That is all. Thank you so much for being part of this very unconventional Vedic Gurukulam by a conventional teacher becoming unconventional. The reason is, who cares? Ultimately, it is all divine as long as we have truth and dharma, satyam and dharma, and we don't flout those boundaries. We're meant to be having too much fun. Thank you.